Now
on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app.
O'Connor and Company.
Well, hey there, everybody. Welcome back. I am Andrew Langer in for Larry O'Connor today on this gorgeous Thanksgiving morning. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you. Thank you for letting me join you. And as you are preparing for the day's events, joining both of us is a voice you will recognize. Her name is Julie Gunlock. She is one of the co-hosts here on O'Connor and Company. Julie, happy Thanksgiving to you.
Happy Thanksgiving to you too. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. Listen, I'm gearing up. We've got a smaller crowd this year. I thought it was going to be more, but I think we have about 10 people coming this afternoon. And went through the mad dash over the weekend. No, but normally we've got between 12 and 18.
Yeah.
So when you count everybody up, and made the mad dash, made the trip to Wegmans on Saturday on our way back from Charlottesville, and bought a huge number of things. The turkey has been brining. It is now drying out.
Nice.
Listen, we've been given the go-ahead. We're allowed to talk about food today. Listen, I think you and I talked a little bit about this before. Thanksgiving is a great day for me to cook because I love cooking a Thanksgiving dinner. I think you're the same way on this, right?
I am. I love, and anytime I have a house full of people and I can entertain them and feed them, this is what I live for. I love it. Yeah. I love it. So, and big crowds, there's a certain art to it,
Absolutely.
Having everything ready, having everything hot, having everything, also menu planning and timing and all that. I love all that.
It's interesting because, there's always things for the menu. As we were doing the shopping, it was like, okay, do we need to make X? Do we need to make Y? And then, of course, you got one kid who doesn't like green bean casserole, but loves Brussels sprouts. Another one who won't eat the Brussels sprouts, but wants the green bean casserole and the cream corn. And if both of them aren't on the table, I'll tell you, it's funny. Earlier this week, I got one of the kids coming home from college is like, I make this thing called a roasted vegetable soup, which I think you will appreciate. You essentially take a bunch of vegetables, potatoes, carrots, onions. What else do I put in there? I've been putting parsnips in as well, but hearty root vegetables that you just roast, garlic, and then you just puree it, with a little bit of ham or whatever. She wants it. I'm like, I can't make that till after Thanksgiving. I got too much.
Boy, that sounds like a lovely post-Thanksgiving meal.
It really is. It's great stuff. So what's your go-to on the table? I mean,
so my favorite thing in the whole entire world is stuffing, and I will take this opportunity to tell you that my mother makes the best stuffing.
Okay.
My mother's stuffing recipe is on National Review.
Is it?
Yes, and I will tweet it out later today. But it's Claire Vincent's Dreamy Stuffing. If you want to Google that comes up. Claire Vincent's Dreamy Stuffing. And honestly, this is the thing. I say that, and everyone's like, "Oh, what does she put in it? Like, what are the really special things?" It's it's a really basic bread stuffing. But this is the thing. I mean, you can go all food and wine and put all your fancy stuff in there, but ultimately, I just want my mom's very simple bread stuffing. So that is my favorite thing. And I am still reeling from a couple years ago. And honestly, it's the only thing I load up on stuffing more than anything else.
Sure.
Okay. And I am still reeling because a couple years ago, it's really important you use day old like white bread.
Sure.
And we get that Pepperidge Farm bread.
Oh,
my mom gets the Pepperidge Farm bread. And one year she made it with some sort of wheat, honey wheat bread because she was trying to be healthy. I ruined Thanksgiving. I was so angry. I could not calm down, and I kept slipping it into conversation, and I was really mean about it. I was like, what is wrong? Anyway, so that is my thing. Stuffing is my thing. I obviously love potatoes. I love gravy. I love the sides.
For me, it's gravy. I mean, I love making gravy. I ever tell you my gravy nightmare story?
No.
I'm gonna throw her under the bus today. So I made we had Thanksgiving at my in-laws' house. And I pride myself on making a homemade gravy. I use the turkey fat to whisk the flour in, so everything's good. It's nice and smooth. I've made this perfect, beautiful homemade gravy, and my mother-in-law comes in and dumps 2 cans of cream of chicken soup.
No!
I was like, why? What are you doing? Oh, yes. Well, we need to expand. We need to expand it, extend it. I'm like, I can do that.
I can feel my blood pressure going up. That is,
up.
Honestly, the weirdest Thanksgiving I ever went to. And oh my God, they were Southerners. So they had like corn, they had delicious cornbread and grits and all these like really lovely things. They had black-eyed peas and bacon or Pam or anyway, a lot of Southern dishes. They had mac and cheese, and then they had all the traditional stuff. They had and they had a very good serviceable stuffing, and they had potatoes. Everything was delicious. And I swear, and this was probably 20 people, and they had a tiny container containing, for like, again, 20 people, probably a cup and a half of gravy.
No,
it was the weirdest thing. I was like, is this some weird thing? Also, I don't know that Southerners are known for no gravy. It was the weirdest,
that's very
thing.
Strange.
Yes, that was strange. But you know what? The other thing they had on their buffet was a vase filled with spring onions.
Interesting.
And I was watching them, and everybody, loads up their plate, and then they would take a spring onion and put it on top of their plate.
Nice. Okay.
And everybody would kind of munch on it with different bites. It was like hit of, sort of sulfur, the oniony sulfur with a couple different bites. It was really interesting.
I may chop up some scallions and put them out there to sprinkle on stuff.
There you go.
That's a really good idea. But I got to go back to your mom's stuffing. But what is in it though? Does it have apples or raisins, or is
no, it has not. It's honestly, it's the Trinity. It's onions, celery, and what is wrong with me? Onions, celery. I think it's just onions and celery, that you saute in butter.
Got it.
Okay, now this olive oil stuff, you're going to do butter.
No, it's stuffing.
And then there's there's a poultry seasoning, right?
Okay. Yeah. The Bell's poultry seasoning. Sure.
Yeah. Yes. Bell's. Exactly.
Yeah.
And then, chicken broth and bread that's been sitting on the counter since, August.
Yeah.
Right?
It's good because, Wegmans does sell those bags of dry bread that you unseasoned.
You don't need to do that.
No.
You don't need to do that because those are seasoned. And then chicken broth, and then you stuff half in the turkey, and the other half you put in a casserole, and you put butter dots on top, and then so you have the kind of crispy stuffing, and then you have the really wet stuffing from the turkey.
We don't stuff the turkey because I spatchcock my turkey. I butterfly it and then open it up. Have you ever done the White Castle stuffing?
No, I've heard of that. No, I've never done it, which is essentially adding sausage.
Pretty much. Yeah. And so I threatened to do it a couple of years ago. We went up to New York. It's a true story. My mother, dead set against it. They hated the idea.
Yeah, of course, because she's a normal human being.
I'll make it. It's fine. It'll be okay.
Oh, Andrew.
We go to New York for Thanksgiving, take the kids to the Thanksgiving parade, and on our way north, we stop by White Castle to pick up the things. And meanwhile, my middle brother is just poking my mother all day, as we're going. He's going to bring it. He's going to make it, Mom. He's going to bring the stuffing. He's going to bring those White Castle burgers. And my mother was in a full lather as I walked through the door with a sack, and she's like, "You are so not good." But she was very angry with me and would not let me make it. We wound up, so I made it for Christmas either that year or the next year. It was the only side dish that was completely gone by the end of dinner. Everybody loved it.
Okay, so another fast food question: have you ever tried the Popeyes turkey?
Never tried the Popeyes turkey.
Me neither.
Yeah. So, but see, I love making my own turkey. I mean, that's the thing. We have fried a turkey. It was a couple of years ago, and this is how I knew that my brother's then girlfriend, now wife, was one of the family. My brother and I were debating the relative merits of whether or not we were going to smoke the turkey or fry the turkey, like a second turkey. And his girlfriend said, "Well, why don't you start it on the smoker and finish it in the fryer?" And it was like she was Moses coming down from Mount
love.
Sinai.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, as it was, my brother didn't get off of his rear end to get the turkey in the smoker, so we just wound up frying the second turkey. But it was great. Julie, listen, we don't get to talk food very often. We should do a food podcast for holiday cooking. Patrice and I have talked about this, and what we need to do next year is some kind of O'Connor and Company potluck show for Thanksgiving.
I agree.
Pre-record it. We all bring stuff. We talk Thanksgiving memories. You and I are going to have some fun in December. I'm going to be in for Larry for a bunch of days.
Yeah.
So we'll talk holiday stuff then. No cooking then. But, but anyway, Julie,
we'll have a great time.
Enjoy your Thanksgiving.
Thank you. You too.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Vince Colonnese Show. The stories ripped from the headlines and translated into the truth. Join us 3 to 6 on WMAL.
Well, hey there, everybody. Welcome back to O'Connor and Company. I'm Andrew Langer, in for Larry O'Connor on this gorgeous Thanksgiving morning. And it wouldn't be Thanksgiving if we didn't talk more about food. We especially haven't talked about dessert yet. Joining me right now is Rodney, the Pie Man Henry, the founder of Dangerously Delicious Pies out of Baltimore. Rodney, listen, I appreciate it. I know Thanksgiving's a busy time for you. You guys are shopping over there. Go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
And Thanksgiving, I love Thanksgiving. It's the greatest. People are super happy and people are super freaked out. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Well, I will tell you something. I got some criticism earlier in the week because I had retweeted a friend's, Thanksgiving pie ranking, the power ranking, and these are more generally acceptable. Had I thought about it more, I would have made sure that he had kept the Baltimore Bomb, because that is an amazing pie. Talk about the Baltimore Bomb. Talk about the pies at Dangerously Delicious Pies.
Oh, Baltimore Bomb is a pie we've had for 20 years now. When we first opened the shop, we had this wild dude who loved burger cookies, him and his wife, and she got pregnant, and we started messing with this idea of making a chest pie.
Yeah,
and basically started out as basically like a buttermilk chest pie, but more like just turned into a mess. And we just kind of kept working on it, and it just turned into being a really awesome, it's like a buttermilk pie, but with burger cookies mashed up into it. And that's like a Baltimore thing.
Oh, yeah.
And we brought those suckers all over the country, man. Like we have bombs when we're on the road, playing places. We always have bombs with us. I bring like a truckload of burgers, cookies on the road,
Oh, yeah.
So we can have pie, but it's just a really awesome, sort of like a Toll House cookie of a pie, but it's really bad. It's really super awesome.
This is the great thing about the chest pies. Now, listen, I love a good fruit pie. I love your apple cranberry crumb pie and your apple pie, but and your savory pies, we can't sleep on those. But the chest pies, I mean, not just the Baltimore Bomb, but the chocolate chest pie, the chocolate peanut butter chest pie, because it's like a brownie pie. In fact, my older daughter is a huge fan of the chocolate chest pie from Dangerously Delicious Pies. By the way, the website is dangerouspies.com. I mean, beyond the Baltimore Bomb, do you have a go-to, or are you just because you're
my favorite? I love all my pies, but my favorite pie is apple pie. There's nothing better than a fresh, crisp, golden Granny Smith apple that's not all mushy. It's like nice and snappy, and you get a bite out of it, and it just tastes so awesome. And it's like nice. It gets you back here by your ear holes a little bit, and it's just a really good flavor to it, and just really it's got some energy. You know what I mean? So apple pie. If a person makes a good apple pie, you can kind of tell their prowess around the kitchen.
Yeah, I agree with that. Listen, you've also got something, and this I just saw on the website. Again, the website dangerouspies.com. We're talking with Rodney, the Pie Man Henry. You got your Thanksgiving feast pie. This is
the jam.
Amazing. Talk about that.
Well, Thanksgiving, everybody loves Thanksgiving. And so I got to say, we used to go down to MGM down in DC, and they made this really killer turkey sort of Thanksgiving sandwich. And I was like, man, we should hook something up. And started messing with just putting all the ingredients in a pie of a Thanksgiving into a pie. And I'll tell you what, the gravy, we cooked down all our turkey. We just render everything down. The gravy's killer. You put it into this turkey and ham, stuffing, mashed potatoes, gravy, and then we top it off with some cranberry sauce and then cover it. And it is amazing. So we a lot of people got, this year, people walking out of the shop Thanksgiving feast pies, pretty happy, smiles on their face.
I'm sure. And the other part of this, and folks, you can get these pies, you can order them online, you can pick them up, you make the trek up to Baltimore. But, it's worth it to go up to the headquarters, the original location in Hampton, up near where I used to work, because you guys have turned that into an event space. Talk about that. Talk about the classes you guys are doing after the holidays.
Okay, so we have a thing called Rodney Henry's Dangerously Delicious School of Practical Cuisine, and we just built the upstairs second floor into a commercial kitchen. Not really a commercial kitchen, more like a teaching kitchen. We open up lines in the first week of December for the kids to come here throughout the new year. And basically we don't just teach them pies. I mean, we have different courses, how to make pasta, do good sauces, everything from scratch, everything by hand. Kids have a blast. It's a real experience. It's not like being like very like it's sort of weird. Some people freak out because they see their kids are actually doing something that their 6 or 8-year-old kid is working, doing something cool, not just sitting on the phone. They're hanging out. They're really enjoying themselves, and they're baking something. And it's like, but it's not like, oh, hey, Johnny, how you doing, buddy? Like this, hey, Johnny, don't cut yourself. We don't want anybody getting hurt. We don't want anything. We don't want anybody getting burnt. We want to have fun, but we don't want to. It's like we want a real kitchen experience, not like too light. It's like not dangerous or anything, but it's like more fun when it's real, when it's a real event, when you're not like when you're working with these kids. It's so much fun to be yourself, and them to be themselves, and they can open up and then enjoy themselves a little bit more.
There is nothing better than cooking with your kids and
no
sharing
doubt.
sharing that time together.
I'm doing it right now. Me and my daughter are right now upstairs on the second floor of the shop in the school, rolling crust side by side. We got about 500 more to do.
That is amazing. Well, listen, I will let you get back to it.
Happy Thanksgiving, brother.
Happy Thanksgiving, sir. Take care.
You too, my man.
And that was Rodney Henry, Rodney the Pie Man Henry, Dangerously Delicious Pies, dangerouspies.com. Go and check it out. Well, we are back. Good morning, everybody. I'm Andrew Langer in for Larry O'Connor here on O'Connor and Company. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you. And, there are lots of traditions that get kicked off during the holiday season. One of my favorites is the annual arrival of what has become an amazing phenomenon. It goes beyond a band. They're called the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. And joining me right now is Jeff Plate. He is their drummer. He's an original band member. I mean, Jeff, did you ever know when you were thinking about, becoming a part of TSO that it was going to become this global phenomenon at Christmas time, especially?
No, I don't think any of us did. When I began working with Paul O'Neill, and Paul O'Neill is the man who created the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. I began working with Paul in 1994 in a band called Sabotage. Mm. Sabotage is a progressive hard rock metal band, symphonic, very melodic, a lot of vocals. And Paul honestly had visions for this project years before I had even met him.
Oh, wow.
So 1994 is when I began working with Paul. 1995 is when we actually recorded Christmas Eve Sarajevo as the band Sabotage.
Yeah.
It was part of a record called Dead Winter Dead. Paul had an idea to insert this instrumental Christmas song into the story that he had written. And, and honestly, I'm the new guy. So I'm just kind of standing in the studio, keep my mouth shut and, watching and listening. But it was kind of a curious idea for him to place this song on this record. But, lo and behold, when that record was released, that song took off in a completely different direction. Paul, I think, could see something in this song. He knew he had something really special here. And then, obviously, that became a reality once it hit the airwaves because it just took off. The song became the catalyst for Paul to actually create this band he had been dreaming about. And here we are almost 30 years later. That song is still the driving force behind what we do. And TSO is just getting bigger every year.
You're coming to DC in December. December 14th. Tickets are on sale now. The 2023 tour is called The Ghosts of Christmas Eve, the best of TSO and more. So for folks who are uninitiated, what should they expect when they go to a TSO holiday concert?
My best answer to that is just come see us because there really is so many different elements to our show. It's kind of hard to explain. And unless you're in the room and you can feel the show, you can feel the emotion, the effects, the production, everything about what we do is very, very unique. Now, if you've never heard a lick of our music before, you'll recognize a number of the traditional classic holiday music themes that Paul O'Neill weaved in and out of his original songs, along with some other classical music themes. So there's something recognizable there for everybody. But, here again, Paul had this vision of creating a project that was going to, you could cover every musical genre, you could cover every age group, and you could create something that was just going to be timeless. And, here again, the man had a vision. He stuck to it. He made it a reality. And here we are we lost Paul several years ago, but there's a number of us that have been with him from the beginning. And, we were very, very carrying on his legacy is one of the most important things that we have to do right now. And TSO is obviously, there's a magic here, and that's why TSO is still doing so well.
We're talking with Jeff Plate. He is the drummer and one of the founding members of the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. They're coming to Washington, D.C., the Capital One Arena, December 14th. You guys are doing 62 cities in 46 days, 104 concerts. But I want to ask you, talk about the importance of live performance. They say that your concerts are, I'm reading this right now, a mix of the Who's Tommy. I get that. Andrew Lloyd Webber thrown in, Pink Floyd's sort of stage value production. I've seen all of them. I've seen the Who. I've seen Andrew Lloyd Webber productions. I've seen Pink Floyd live in concert. There is something transformative about the live performance of music and the experience that people have being there and being there together. Talk about that.
Yeah, well, like I said, there's nothing like being in the room and experiencing the show. It's, as far as the musicians, the cast on stage, I am very, very fortunate to be able to work with some amazing musicians, amazing vocalists. The production team that sets up these shows and makes all this happen really are second to none. The thing that I've always felt, what I realized after a certain amount of time was the stories that Paul O'Neill wrote were something that was connecting with everybody.
Yeah.
And, presenting this on stage for people, here again, for people who have never seen this before, the first half of our show is the story segment, so to speak. We have a narrator, he tells the story, he explains, kind of sets up every song with story. And this to me is something that once people realized that Paul was actually speaking to them, speaking to everybody, word of mouth, wow, we realize it's safe for us to bring our children and our grandparents and everybody in between. All of this, all of the above has just made this connection. But the live show, it truly is one of the most unique things you'll ever see. And there's so many people involved in making it happen. But it all started with Paul, and his vision.
So as we go through this, let me ask you this, who are some of your influences? I got to ask you just a pure music question. You talk about your life story a little bit. I've been reading more about this, but when you sat down and started playing drums, who were your influences? Who did you turn to for inspiration?
Man. So when I was a kid, we were talking about it earlier, I lived in upstate New York, and there wasn't a whole lot of, access to media and things like that where I was raised. I only had a handful of television channels, but back in the day it was American Bandstand, it was Soul Train, it was the Midnight Special, it was Hee Haw. My parents were big country music fans.
Okay.
But like on television, Buddy Rich,
Sure.
You saw Buddy Rich quite a bit.
Absolutely.
And I'll tell you, I think when I was 12 years old, the band Chicago really connected with me, and they were like my first favorite band, so to speak. And then a year later I saw Kiss on the Midnight Special, and that completely put me in another orbit, and here I am today. But there have been so many influences when I was young, those two I just mentioned, but Neil Peart from Rush,
of course. Yeah.
I'm a teenager, I'm just starting to get my chops and figure things out, and here comes 2112, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm going to follow this guy. So, but there are so many drummers who have influenced me over the years. Even today, there's so many good players out there that I watch, I listen to, I learn from. And I also realize too, after doing this for so long, you kind of develop your own style and your own thing. So, I'm the best Jeff Plate there is out there. So I can be,
there you go.
I can feel good about that. But yeah, there's a lot of influence all over the place.
The band is the the experience is a Trans-Siberian Orchestra. They'll be at the Capital One Arena Thursday, December 14th. Tickets on sale now, trans-siberian.com. Jeff Plate, thank you so very much for joining us today.
You bet. Take care.
7:45 now, WMAL traffic and weather every 10. Well, welcome back, everybody. I'm Andrew Langer in for Larry O'Connor. We've got a Critter News here. When I was at the dog park the other day, one of the dads of one of my puppy's best friends said to me, "Hey, have you heard about this new respiratory illness that is affecting dogs?" I'm like, "No, I hadn't." And he said, "Well, it's really serious. It's out west, but it's coming east, and nobody knows what it is, and it's giving dogs pneumonia." It's now in a bunch of states in Canada. It hasn't been seen in Canada. California, Oregon, Washington, Colorado, Idaho. It's been here in Virginia, North Carolina, etc. So scientists think that they may have discovered what's going on with it. This is important. They think the culprit is this doctor calls it a funky bacterium, a smaller than a normal bacterium in the size and in the size of its genome. The small size might allow it to evade a dog's upper immune system in the upper respiratory tract and get down into the lungs. He goes, in short, it's a weird bacterium that can be tough to find and sequence. I wish scientists would not use terms like weird and funky when describing these things. It doesn't even have a name yet. It first shows up as a cough that can last for 6 to 8 weeks, which antibiotics seem unable to control. But what they are saying is if you get your dogs checked out, if your dog starts coughing or wheezing, go and get it checked out and see what they can do. They're working on a solution to it, but the earlier you catch it, the better. They say doxycycline might help. If you're like me, my dog is my best friend. My two dogs are my best friends. And you take this stuff seriously. And I don't want to have to not take my dogs to the dog park. In fact, using my philosophy from what we did in COVID-19, I'm sure getting outside with your dogs is probably a very good thing. But go and get them checked out if it looks like they have flu or wheezing or kennel cough. Go and check it. Go and get it checked out. It's 7:53 here on O'Connor and Company, WMAL.